Pixel Fold is almost here, and there's one reason I'm really excited about it. Now, I've made no secrets about this. I'm not crazy that it has a Tensor G2. I'm not crazy that it costs $17.99, but I am in love with the form factor, and that's because I spent a lot of time with this guy right here, the Microsoft Surface Duo 2. Now, a lot of you may not know about this phone, and those of you that do may not hold it in high regard, but I have really enjoyed this phone. I got it whenever it first came out. Don't worry, this is not a Surface Duo 2 video, but there's a couple correlations here that I want to make. One, it has a much wider display. So right here, when you take a look at this right here is a pretty big display, and you can also see it's got large bezels on the top and the bottom, and this phone, well, it was made fun of and people didn't like the bezels. The bezels aren't the end of the world. The biggest thing here is the experience. So would you rather have some bezels up at the top and the bottom, which really aren't that big of a deal, or would you rather have basically half the screen, like we get with the Samsung Galaxy Z Fold series, like the Fold 3, the Fold 4, and it's going to be exact same with the Fold 5. I've said this many times. I use the Fold, I use the front part of the screen too much, but it's really not big enough. And I've really wanted to get my hands on an Oppo Find N or Find N2 because they're basically a full foldable display that looks like this. So if I can get my hands on a foldable phone like this, that's a true foldable display and doesn't fold up like this or unfold, I think that's pretty cool. Now, I like this design. It works for me just fine because I like having the separation. I like having the two individual fully functional screens. There's a lot to like about the Surface Duo 2. And we can even talk about this in another way, because yes, we know the Tensor G2 is not as powerful as the Snapdragon 8 Generation 2. It doesn't get as good a battery life as the 8 Generation 2. The key benchmarks are, does it do everything it needs to do? Does it do it well? And does it get you enough battery to get through the day? And those questions we'll have to answer once it gets here. But, I mean, this phone doesn't have the most amazing battery life in the world, but can you squeak 5 hours out of it? Yeah. Does it work really well? Yes. And this one has a Snapdragon 888. I have no problems with this, and we all know that the Tensor G2 is better than the Snapdragon 888. The thing that gets me though is the price. Like, I'm really not looking forward to the $1,799 price tag. I've already pre-ordered it. That's going to hit my wallet here in about a week or so once it gets ready to ship. Not crazy about it, but I'm buying it for science, and plus I'm also a tech enthusiast, and I do this for a living. So, y'all guys know I'm going to cover it for the channel. Well, I have the Surface Duo 2. I love it. The bezels, not an issue. And one thing when it comes to these kind of screens, you're holding it down here usually anyway. Like you always have like a thumb down there that's covering up part of that bezel anyway. So instead of it encroaching on the screen, you just have it down there very naturally where the bezels are at. So it's not that big of a deal. And plus you have so much viewing real estate, it's not a problem anyway. Let me unlock this. So when you're using the phone, you have a lot of usable display that's up here whenever it comes to the screen. So, see, it blends in really well. You can hardly even see the bezel. So, I don't think the bezels are the issue. I don't think that the screen and the dimensions are the issue. The G2, I'm not crazy about for the price tag, but I think it's probably going to be largely okay for most folks. Hopefully, they found a good way to mitigate the heat. Maybe they've got some better cooling in there. They've got some better thermals. There are things that they can do to that chip that can make it better. Of course, also software optimization and things like that. So maybe it's a different experience than what we get in the Pixel 7, the Pixel 7a, the 7 Pro, which is largely a pretty good experience. But I think that hopefully it's going to be okay. I'm crossing my fingers anyway, but I was just thinking about it. I've been using my Surface Duo 2 again here recently. I love this form factor. Like, I love having these two screens that are bigger, they're wider, and just the idea of having a phone with the front screen more akin to this as opposed to the slick Three Musketeer candy bar screen on the Fold 4, I think it's good. Now, this is not the exact dimension, but it's kind of in the same ballpark. This is the whole look that they're going for, this more passport size, bigger, wider screen to work with. Work wide. I mean, it's something that even BlackBerry knew a long time ago. Whenever they had the BlackBerry Passport, that was the whole mantra of that phone. Work wide. You had enough characters on there that you could see all the way across. You didn't have to move back and forth on the screen all the time. And whenever you're doing some multitasking, when you have a full-size screen, it's going to make using the front screen even better. And yes, it's great to open up a phone and then have tablet mode, but being able to have a larger front screen is so much nicer because, one, it's fully functional, which of course it is on the Fold as well, but the idea of having that bigger screen on the outside just gives you more to work with. It's easier to type on. You can actually like casually play games and do other stuff. I wish that Microsoft would make a phone like this, like just a single stack screen with these dimensions. I think it could be really cool. Maybe Microsoft's listening. I don't know. I'm not even sure. I don't think we're getting a phone this year. I had thought we would get a Surface Duo 3 at the end of this year, since this phone's coming up on 2 years old at the end of this year, but this one still has a lot of life left in it. I think that the Surface Duo 2 is a great idea, and just the idea of taking a phone and then making it one fully fledged screen gives you a lot of great opportunity there that you can't exactly do all of it with just the normal really thin front screen. Like, I like the front screen on the Z Fold 4. It's better. It's made some strides ever since it's come out, but it's still not there. And I really like, I've been in love with the Oppo Find N, the Find N2. I still hope I can get my hands on one day. But this Pixel Fold experience, I think, is going to be, it's going to be an experience. And it's going to be one like nobody's really experienced in the United States, because we've been stuck with the Galaxy Fold, the Fold 2, the Fold 3, and the Fold 4. That's it. So I really do give Google a lot of credit for sticking to this and actually bringing it to market, because it gives us competition. It gives us options. It gives us alternatives. And that's something important that the folding phone game has been sorely missing here in the US. Because if you look elsewhere, you look outside the US, Honor makes a foldable phone. Huawei makes foldable phones. Xiaomi makes foldable phones. All those guys over there. There's a lot of phone companies over there making a lot of different really cool foldable phones that don't come out here in the States. Here we just have Samsung. So hopefully, with what they're doing over at Google with the Pixel Fold, I hope it does well. I hope the price drops quickly, even though I'm going to be mad because, you know, it's going to undercut the price that I paid for. But I think $14.99, $13.99 is a really healthy price tag for that product. It is premium. It is a big foldable phone. It has the Tensor G2. So we'll probably see after the first month or two, probably be an initial sale, just like what Google always does. But yeah, the more foldable phones, the better, because it drives innovation, it drives costs down, and that's another good thing, because what we're seeing with all the leaked stuff on the Galaxy Z Fold 5 is it's almost like 99.99% identical physically. It doesn't have a whole lot else going on, especially whenever it comes to dimensions. So what we're looking at is that Snapdragon 8 Generation 2 that's going to be under the hood, that's going to be amazing. But it's even funny that we're not even getting an 8 Plus Generation 2 this fall. And that has to do largely a lot with the chips. So basically the demand on chips has gone down so far that the people making them, like Qualcomm and Samsung, are losing money out the rear. Like, it was not really anticipated to drop off the cliff that fast. So yeah, they're not putting any money into an 8 Plus Generation 2. We just have the 8 Generation 2, and that's kind of where things are going to be. So yeah, I'm really excited about it. I can't wait for the Pixel Fold to get here. I'm not really crazy about paying for it. I don't think most people are. It's really expensive. But there are some positives to it that I really wanted to talk about and kind of hammer down, because it's really going to be a cool, unique experience, and I'm excited for that. So that's all I've got. If you have any questions or comments, please go to the comment section. We can discuss it. If you ordered one, if you pre-ordered one, if you're looking forward to it or not, let's talk about it. I'd love to have some conversation. And as always, if you enjoyed the video, please hit the like and the subscribe button and a little notification bell if you want updates when new videos come out. And as always, thanks for being here. I appreciate you watching, and I'll see you guys next time.